Hi, welcome to the Mint Luxury Conference 2012. This morning we're interviewing Mr. Hamilton South, who's here with us. Mr. South oversees the corporate advisory services to global consumer products and luxury lifestyle brands, including Ralph Lauren, Sotheby's, and the Starwood Capital Group. He is the founding partner of the HL Group. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you for being here with us.
Happy to be here.
Okay. We're very excited to have you because you have this amazing overview of the media business as well as the luxury business. Can you tell us what is the most exciting thing for you now in 2012?
I think the most interesting thing right now is the media business globally is fracturing. I think that, as mobile technology moves into the forefront and more brands are required to become adept at storytelling in different mediums, having worked in media and now working on the brand side, it's the kind of perfect time to be creative and explore new possibilities. And every day brings a new change and a new platform that I have to understand and have to be able to talk to clients about.
How do you think brands need to change and grow to effectively reach out to their customers?
Well, a couple of different ways. I think the print, there was always a very large requirement that you understand the notions of photography, and still photography was the primary medium for a brand to storytell. And whether that's a fashion brand, choosing the model, choosing what the model's wearing, who the photographer is, what the backdrop is, it's a great medium, but it's a very flat medium, and the requirement of language is significantly less. I think the internet and the entire digital space now forces brands to spend much more time developing an ability to tell stories using video. And in order to do video well, I think you have to be able to tell your brand both in visual terms and in verbal terms.
In today's age when you have social media and Twitter and messages reaching out instantaneously, there's a lot of focus on the viral. And is that something you would encourage luxury brands to go for, or is that, is there a certain stepping back that kind of demarcates luxury from the other brands?
No, I think 3 years ago you heard every luxury brand talk about how the internet was not an appropriate place for luxury to exist. And I think that that's just fundamentally stupid. I think the reality is the consumer that most matters now over the long haul is the younger consumer. And those are the people that for the next 20 to 30 years are going to be engaging and transacting with both mass brands and luxury brands. And that consumer has largely grown up on a diet of digital. And I think that plus the expansion of the e-commerce space and the importance of e-commerce in the luxury conversation makes it an absolute necessity that all brands understand. The other thing is, look, I think it's no different than 30 years ago, people talking about television versus radio. I certainly don't think that any medium ever goes away. I think that in certain periods of time, there will always be new forms of medium. And the other thing is that, look, I think one of the mistakes people make, and the reason I focus so much on storytelling, is that all of these, no matter how advanced, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, all of it is just a distribution medium. And distribution mediums are essentially worthless unless you have a good story to tell and something to pass through that distribution medium.
Absolutely. Which brings me to my next question, actually, which is that today, with so much of what was once highly aspirational coming within the reach of a larger mass of consumers, how does luxury keep its edge? What must luxury do in order to take it one step above?
Well, listen, that's such a complex question, and I think I'll start with this. I think that the definition of anything changes over time. I think the definition of luxury is one that is constantly changing. I think if you looked at luxury 3 years ago, it was driven by scarcity of product. It was driven by aspirational pricing, the need for the consumer to feel that they had to stretch in order to engage. And I'm not necessarily sure that that will be the definition of luxury over the next 5 years. I think that every geography is slightly different. I certainly think in the Indian market, a lot of the younger, affluent people I meet are very keen to figure out how value is part of the luxury proposition.
Okay. So in that sense, India is kind of evolving its own definition of what luxury is today. And that's a large part of that is the youth segment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you see that panning out over the next, say, decade or so? How do you suppose that definition is going to change for India uniquely?
Well, look, I think a couple of things. One is India is either the largest or the second largest English-speaking country in the world. So I think as a marketplace for existing luxury brands, it's a very ripe opportunity. That being said, I'm a big believer that one of the mistakes that luxury brands make in terms of their global expansion is to base all of their decision-making process on past success. And I think that what denotes luxury in Europe is not at all what denotes luxury in India. And I think that, you know, look, I think the customer here will constantly change the definition of luxury. I think that India is a market that is far more advanced in terms of mobile technology than just about any other country in the world. Okay. And I think how mobile plays a part in all of this will determine some of the answer to your question. And lastly, I think that, you know, look, I think if you look at the landscape of Western brands, it's littered with references to India. And if you go from Cartier to Hermes to Harry Winston in the United States, India, both from a design standpoint and a historical standpoint, has supplied an enormous amount of the inspiration for European luxury brands. And that's a European notion of what luxury is. I think the young, intelligent, well-educated, affluent Indian consumer will make their own very personalized decisions about what they perceive to be luxury.
Thank you so much, Mr. South.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your insight.
No, not at all.